So today we are going to talk about things you should consider before starting work with the spirits, especially demons. It is indeed necessary to understand that the forces you are conjuring are not just psychological aspects of your own mind. There are independent conscious beings which can have profound positive or negative influence on your reality, depending on how you approach them, who you approach, when you approach, and why you approach. You see, there are certain procedures and certain things one needs to be capable of before approaching spirits. First, before approaching spirits, whoever desires to approach them should be capable of feeling energies to a certain degree. And whoever desires to approach spirits should be capable of tapping into his own emotions and differentiating one emotion from the other. Whoever desires to start working with the spirits should know that spirits are not toys and they can be really dangerous. No matter what class of spirit you call, angels, demons, elementals, or ancient idols of the past, jinn, whatever you want to call, you need to know that spirits of all kinds can be dangerous. And all spirits need to be treated with a certain level of respect, dignity, and caution. We need to understand that the process of spiritual evolution is not a quick one. If you truly want to have supernatural abilities, that's possible. But you need to dedicate an enormous amount of time and effort into it. And you need to be ready to sacrifice years of your life, aspects of your health, aspects of your character, aspects of your behavior, aspects of your spiritual, physical, and mental existence in order to achieve true mastery. There is no shortcuts. We also need to understand that our ability to perceive spirits is indeed something which majority of people have to develop. And also, if we truly want to engage in any form of spiritual work, discipline is necessary. My lack of discipline recently fucked some people I cared about a lot. And it really got me thinking about a lot of things. So you need to be disciplined too. So today I will give you an example of what you should know before approaching demons. Number one thing you should know is that demons are not dark fluffy bunnies. They are extremely capable of creating chaotic situations. And in later aspects of your path working, they will purposefully create chaotic situations in order for you to ascend. One other thing you should know before approaching demons is that not all demons desire to work with you. You kinda need to really look out for the demon who best suits your character. Then work on your energies for a while And after that, try to call a demon. There are certain fundamental things you should know before trying to call a demon. You should know to work on your chakras and energy centers. You should train your abilities to feel energy. And you should raise and know how to raise the sacred space or protective circle or whatever, which will prevent imposter spirits and parasites from attaching to you. Now, once we as people mastered those three skills, once we learned to clean our energy centers, worked on them for a time, and learn to clean our energy bodies and feel our own energy. And once we learned to raise the sacred space, then we should indeed start approaching spirits of any kind. Now, it is fundamental when you raise a sacred space to raise it in a way which is most suitable for you and also for the spirits in question you are trying to summon. So if you are trying to summon jinn, you will raise a sacred space suitable for jinnic evocation. If you are trying to evoke demons, you raise a sacred space suitable for demonic evocation. If you are trying to evoke angels, you raise a sacred space suitable for angelic evocation, and so on and so forth. After you raise the sacred space, then you proceed to call the spirit of your choosing. And then you start working with the spirit and building a relationship, manifesting what you wanna. But this won't be a topic of this video. This video is not evocation tutorial. I am here to tell you something about demons which majority of people will not tell you. And this is something I have to say because this is something which is really big thing in my experience. Majority of people who work with the demons, or let's be honest, claim to work with the demons, are not actually working with anything which is really potent enough to cause any significant change. That's why you see magicians living in their mother's basement for 10 years and claiming to be some hyper-ascended master of 13th order of the Algol star and shit like that, you know. The reason why that happens is because majority of people are not tapping into demonic current deeply. And I am going to tell you why. You see, in modern times, occult literature became commercialized. It became like any other stock you'll sell. It became like any other currency. Every currency is like that. The more currency you have in circulation, the less valuable it is. And the more of that currency you need to buy something. So, to be honest, there are few good occult authors and YouTube channels, but there is also a bunch of trash. And there is a lot of misinformation online and in written books. And there is also a lot of egotistic people who use the small amount of spiritual knowledge they have to claim superiority over anybody else. This caused a delusion within a qliphothic and demonic current. Every popular demonic entity, due to this delusion of the current, created a politically correct interface, because they realized that since so many people have preconceived false notions about them, they partially need to adapt to those false preconceived notions in order to have more influence, because current became deluded. So once you start working deeply with the demon of your choosing, you should call your patron demon or patron demoness, and you should command, compel, or ask, depending on what system you use, your patron demoness or demon to reveal to her their true face, their true knowledge, their true potential and wisdom. And at first few requests they will probably refuse, but keep asking them that over and over again. Be persistent. Don't give up. Show them that you want real meat with actual potatoes, not virtual meat and potatoes. And once they realize that you are actually here to go deeper into real shit, and that you are here to stay, they will give you a task. A controversial task indeed, and you will have to complete that task in order to initiate into deeper mysteries. Once you complete that task, your patron or matron demoness, or the demon of your choosing, will show himself to you in much primal, more powerful and primordial aspect of himself, which will be much more creative and destructive than the politically correct interface of those beings you find in modern occult literature. Let's take Lilith as an example. Politically correct interface of Lilith in modern occult literature is sexy succubi who enjoys to fuck with men, empowers women, and take care about kids. However, true face of Lilith is a little bit more controversial. True face of Lilith is spirit of natural selection and everything it entails, is responsible for design and flow of the winds of plague, which cause pandemics. True face of Lilith can make you immune to majority of illnesses and make you immune to psychic vampirism almost completely, but she also enjoys slowly eating her victims until they remain an empty husk. And she also enjoys to create new forms of astral and physical illness. So we see through the example of Lilith that while politically correct interface of Lilith is benevolent mother figure with kinky elements, actual form of Lilith, which you encounter when you work more deeply, is ambivalent, creative and destructive force of the certain energy current. Let's take jinnic, shaitanic, sultan, Paimon or Paimonia as an example. Politically correct interface of Paimon is nice and really disciplined teacher and guide in black magic, skilled in arts and sciences, with slight tendency to manipulate, which enjoys to protect and empower his initiates. That's the image of King Paimon you get when you first meet him, when you first call him. Since how he became so popular, he kinda created for himself this interface. However, when you go really deeply in work with him, you'll find out that you are not talking to some benevolent mentor, king-like figure. You'll find out that you are talking to really shrewd politician with brutal ability for politicking and scheming. However, he definitely has a really strong and powerful ethical code on his side, and his personal ethical code is one of the best in spirit world. He is really trustworthy. However, he is extremely manipulative and shrewd politician. He also teaches extreme forms of baneful magic and spiritual transformation, which are extreme even for the standards of the Shaitanic Jinn. And the Shaitanic Jinn are one of the most aggressive spiritual species. He also, in this deeper form of his, is extremely dark and sinister sometimes. Art he creates in this more deeper form is always created with a goal. When you create an art for him in this deeper form, it will always have some kind of an agenda you don't know anything about. And we see that this Paimon, this deeper form of Paimon, is much different than interface majority of people have about him in an occult community. Now, what I can also say, and what every magician should do, is you should call your patron or matron spirit, and you should ask them over and over again what's their agenda within this world. And at first they will just tell you, yeah, my agenda is to reach the godhood for humanity, I am kind of friend of humanity, I am here for the people to ascend, and it is your duty to know that this is absolute nonsense, okay? Those spirits, demonic and angelic, they definitely have their own personal interests, rivalries, agendas, and some things they are trying to achieve. There is part of that agenda which is for the universe, but there is also part of that agenda which is for them. Okay? All of those spirits are partially motivated by self-interest. And this is not something majority of people want to hear, because this slaughters a lot of sacred cows in the occult community about transcendental nature of the spirit, which is nonsense, by the way. But you should ask your patron, matron, whatever, what's your agenda in the universe? And at first they will give you fluffy answers. And they will give you, whatever, just to hide what their agenda is. The same is for angels and demons, okay? It's the same for everybody. But you should ask them this question over and over again, and perform rituals over and over again to reveal their agenda. And this won't be 1 or 2 rituals with that specific spirit. This should be a path working. You should do an entire path working to discover actual spiritual agenda of your patron or matron spirit. Okay? And the reason why this is necessary is because you need to know what your spirit guide actually wants and what is he actually doing in this universe. What his purpose in this universe? What is purpose of King Paimon? What's agenda of King Paimon? What is he working towards? And how he benefits from what he is doing? Only when you understand that, you will be capable of tapping into the deepest mysteries of this entity. The same is for everybody else. The reason why so many people don't receive the deepest knowledge from the spirits is because in order for the spirits to give you their deepest knowledge, you need to aid them in their agenda. But in order for you to aid them in their agenda, you need to know what that agenda is. So, it is not mine to reveal what the deep agenda of my spirits is. Because partially, I don't know it completely yet. But since I partially discovered agenda of my spirit guides and I started working with them on that agenda, they gave me knowledge which greatly boosted my spiritual empowerment. And the same will be for you. Now I answered a lot of questions regarding the occult community. And the reason why you need to do this, the reason why you need to discover the agenda of the spirit you are working with, is because maybe agenda of the spirit you are working with will not create the world you want to live in. If that's the case, choose another spirit to work with. A lot of people work with spirits and go nowhere because they work only superficially with them, and they work with the spirits whose agenda is different from the world they want to live in. So they don't receive any mysteries from the spirits because they don't take the spirits in their agenda, which then creates a dark situation in which the only real benefactor is the spirit in question, because maybe that spirit in question isn't helping a lot individual who is summoning it, but through that individual who is summoning the spirit can influence the world around the individual to further his agenda. So, in a superficial relationship between human and the spirit, the only real benefactor is the spirit. That's why you are seeing a bunch of sorcerers who work superficially with spirits, don't have any real benefits, and they are simply promoting the spirits. And nothing is really happening. And more this happens, more and more will the currents in question be diluted by superficial masks spirit will adopt, which will greatly corrupt the current and make more difficult for new sorcerers to actually reach the true face of the spirits they are working with. So, in the future, every course I fill will contain a ritual to reveal the true nature of the spirit in question. And how to initiate a path working in order to discover the true nature of the spirit and his actual agenda within this world. So, this is all I have for today. Don't dabble, do deep shit, or otherwise you will just fuck yourself. Because occultism is not something you should dabble in. Long dabbling will sooner or later create a catastrophe. We are a community full of long-time dabblers, and I was one until recently. I am guilty of this mistake too, and of many more mistakes. And to my dear audience, I want to say this. When the Spirit refuses to reveal his true nature, be like a lion in the desert. Roar until you hear the answer. Be dedicated. Don't be satisfied with golden dust. Don't even be satisfied with the caves of gold. Ask the spirits to give you the poison or the elixir of life. Ask them to give you the true mysteries, because we need them in this time. We need people who are willing to sacrifice a lot to reach the true nature of the currents they are working with. Or otherwise, we will simply create a lot of chaos without actual change. I didn't understood what's the agenda of the spirits I work with, and lack of that understanding harmed my family, harmed my friends, and me. We need to be serious about this. Because if we are not serious about this, people will suffer, some of them will even die, and chaos will erupt, no matter what spirits you are working with. We need to know what the fuck we are doing. That could be applied to me in many instances. Bunch of times I don't know what the fuck I am doing. And it showed itself recently. And you need to know that in order to become an actual magician, you need to practice magic few hours every day. If you don't have that drive, it's better for you to consider not tapping into magic at all. If you don't have a drive to build that discipline and to really tap into the deepest mysteries, I ask you, I beg you, I please you, consider twice before casting a first spell or performing the first evocation. Because you can tap a little bit into spirits, dabble superficially and then leave, but that will probably create an amount of chaos that somebody else will have to deal with. I will give an example. Let's say you dabble into summoning fucking angels. You wanna be white light bitch and white light dickhead, and you dabble into summoning angels, my dear friend. And next day, somebody who is not attuned to angels enters the room and feels fuckery. Fuckery happens in his life. Why? Because you called angels, those sweet white angels, good angels, which are ambivalent force like everything else, not good or evil, and because it came in contact with somebody who isn't attuned to that, fuckery happens to that person due to energy you evoked into your space. And you didn't know where to summon the spirit, how to summon the spirit, and how to prevent anything bad from happening without your intention. So this is end for this video. I hope you enjoyed this short conversation and see you tomorrow.